Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Star Citizen Reacts. So, let's just have a look. Jared's just uploaded, I say Jared, the team has uploaded Inside Star Citizen Alpha 4.0, What We Do in Space. So, anything with 4.0 in the name is obviously going to catch a lot of attention. So I thought I'd do a little react while I'm waiting for my video to finish uploading. That is just uploaded, if you want to go watch it. Pyro, I'm excited to hear what they've got to say about it. It's a big place. It's bigger than Stanton. So, yeah, let's see what's there. Hopefully they talk about some of the locations, what there is to do. I don't know. Let's have a look. Small. Right. Let's go.
By this point, it's pretty safe to say that all of you watching now know that Pyro is the next star system upcoming to the Star Citizen Persistent Universe in the upcoming Alpha 4.0. And 2 weeks ago, we started ISC's journey through the jump point to get there. And it's a good one. You should check it out if you haven't already.
You should watch it.
What is there actually to do in the Pyro system once we get there? It's not all just pandemonium and chaos. To start, nearly every mission type and every gameplay system we've developed for Stanton works there as well. That means a life of cargo, salvage, mining, bounty hunting missions, and more are already ready to go due to their systemic development. But that's just the head start. There are also a number of new mission types, gameplay systems, and wholly unique experiences that arrive with Pyro and Alpha 4.0. And we'll be spending the next several weeks discussing them. Starting this week with What We Do in Space, where we're talking about a new kind of space station built with the more efficient level design lessons learned in Stanton. A brand new, ongoing, never-stopping, never-quitting contested zone system that'll reward you more and more the longer you can hold it. And a sneak peek at asteroid bases that'll require both ship and FPS combat combined to overcome and explore for its rewards. Let's find out more.
Okay, I just want to say the idea of holding territory is very compelling, whether that's PvE or PvP. I think that's really cool. I actually think that's where Star Citizen is going to end up going long term. So this is cool. Asteroid bases as well. I'm into it. Oh, that looks so cool. Look at that. That's amazing.
So let's start with space stations.
Okay.
So in Pyro, we have 12 space stations. One of them is the jump point station that you arrive at, coming from Stanton.
When you arrive in the gas cloud, you can't see every part of the station. It's impossible. In your cockpit, you're just gonna see like a bit of it. And then when you get closer, you're gonna see like, oh, yeah, that's huge.
Okay. In before I inevitably crash into the virtually impossible to see space station. Good luck me.
Quite a bit bigger and more involved than you would find in Stanton.
The exteriors are very aggressive looking. They're very spiky. There's an almost fractal nature to it.
The space stations are owned to like different like factions, so you can see like the factions branding on top of some of the stations. And then you can see like, oh, if like Wrath and Ready, you're gonna have problems.
The Rough and Ready gang is...
From when I was in Pyros before with the test that they did last year. Was it this year or last year? I can't remember. When they last let us into Pyro, these space stations were huge and there was missions in them. They looked incredible. It was cool.
Is one of our main operators in the Pyro system. Almost every single rest stop refueling station is going to be run by Rough and Ready. They started off back in 2939 when this enforcer named Rook had had enough. He had this great plan about how they could take over the
That helmet is sick, by the way.
fuel operations in the system, and the ruling council of the headhunters deemed that it was too risky. But a lot of other people had gotten wind of Rook's plans, and so he ended up splintering off and kind of forming his own gang. Rook decided to take on the symbology of rest and relax, which is a known refueling station, kind of do their own spin on it. And they took the double R and they became Rough and Ready. While they're totally down to defend their territory and they're not gonna take any BS from anyone who's opening fire or hurting their business, they also don't get dragged unnecessarily into conflict.
So basically they're pretty neutral, but will be dangerous if provoked, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that means like, unless you start you know, if you set the boundary that they're enemies, unless you tell them we're not cool, they're going to be okay. So that's cool.
Each of the 12 stations will have a unique exterior, and some of the ones will be Starlight Service Station, Obituary.
Oh, wow. Okay, hold up. A couple of things. I just saw a Polaris. I don't know if you guys saw it, but look at this screenshot, man. That's the thumbnail right there. That looks incredible. Look at this.
And some of the ones will be Starlight Service Station.
You can't see it. Look, I'll move my face. Look, there it is. Oh, that was so cool. Sorry. No, I'm glad I paused it and rewound it because you would have missed it.
Obituary. A very happy name. Gaslight. But maybe that's not what it's really called. And Megumi Refueling, which is not as easy as it sounds to say. And of course there's Checkmate Station, which is a little bit different to how you may have seen it in Pyro Playground and CitizenCon. And there's also Ruin Station.
Oh, interesting.
What sets
So they've
Ruin
updated
apart,
it.
It's the big LEO. It was originally Checkmate that you would have seen in Pyro, but it's been greatly expanded. It has significantly revised and enlarged interior with much more gameplay opportunity.
Okay, I just said it was huge and they've made it bigger. Fair play.
When you arrive in a Pyro space station, you'll recognize some of the activities that you already do in Stanton to be done there
Noodles, who wants some noodles?
as well.
They have the same facilities, things like weapon shops, food courts, hangars.
They didn't
You
show
have
it.
direct access from your hangar to the cargo deck, and that's where you can buy your commodities or sell them, and then you can return right away into your instance hangar and then go off on your trip. From there, you can also access the external freight elevators to...
That's true, actually. I didn't think of that. So I don't remember there being, and obviously I don't because it's fairly new, right? The cargo freight manager sections of the hangars. So they would have had like, and this is what scares me with Star Citizen, right? If they start building systems, like they've got Pyro coming out and they do another one and another one, and then they go, hold up, I think hangars should have X in them. How many hangars are you changing? I guess maybe it's like small, medium, large. It's not like 24 hangars per station, right? But still, I hope they're happy with how things are now that they're starting to bring in new systems.
or sell them, and then you can return right away into your instance
Also, this is like 720p quality. I'm sorry.
hangar and then go off on your trip. From there, you can also access the external freight elevators to easily load your whole Cs. And so we've made these gameplay loops much less tiring in Pyro.
And in Ruin Station, we'll have something called the Ghost Arena, which we'll let you discover for yourselves.
Interesting. Ghost Arena.
So a
Sounds
contested
like Fight
zone,
Club.
design-wise, we are likening them to kind of a classic MMO dungeon. Instead of the primary way of accessing this content being behind missions,
They actually said the words, it's like kind of like an MMO dungeon. I don't know if they've said much of that before. They're like acknowledging it's a video game, not a sim game. Kind of. I don't know. I don't know where that, like, that's wrong. I'm wrong about that. But, like, you know what I mean? So they're very, like, make it to reality and bring it back to fun. That's the thing. But now they're like, oh, no, we've made an MMO dungeon. It's, like, very video gamey. It's kind of an interesting take.
we are taking more of an open approach.
It is an open space for players to go in and farm, get loot, some special rewards, and explore the station even more.
So what I really like about the contested zone,
This is an absolute treasure trove of little stuff in the future. Also, you can't see. Oh, god damn it, I gotta find somewhere else on my face. Look at how much ammo this guy's packing. And also, now I'm covering it, look at this UI stuff. What's all this up here? That's crazy. Oh, you can't see it. Yeah, what's all this stuff here? What is that? I need answers. And no, oh geez, no, I'm like the worst Reacts channel ever. I'm sorry. I'm like Salty Mike Budget Edition.
And explore the station even more.
so what I really like about the contested zones is the fact that they are right there next to the social space. It's really quick access, which I think is something that makes Pyro unique. You can be in the social space, you have your shops, you have the hub, you have the clinic, but the contested zone is right there, often through just a door, an airlock.
This will be very visually distinctive. It'll be very cold, there'll be ice along the walls. Some of these don't have the life support systems. The power will be generally out.
We have booby traps and mines. You'll hear the odd rustling inside the vents with some potential surprises in it.
At some point, you'll be facing multiple doors, and every door is giving you different things to fight, different rewards, and so you have to choose where to go. And some of them will be blocked through some puzzle elements, like key cards, to allow you to open the door and access the wing.
Some areas are more secure than others, with better rewards. Other areas are highly contested, and there's more players coming into that space and more like an arena. We really want to take advantage of that, the vibe for Pyro, of PvP, of lawlessness, of being out, you know, sometimes alone, but hopefully you're there with your buddies to help back you up.
I am like lost with this. Not in like it's just like what? Like where are we going with Pyro, man? Like, so there's a whole arena in the station that you can go and just farm loot, and it's an open PvE PvP environment. And you can just keep going in there spawning loot. That's awesome, but it's just so different to everything else.
The zone inhabits...
Like, sorry just to cut myself off again, but like the not myself, cut the video off. Compared, like, where's the lore and loot respawning, you know?
Various types of outlaws. These inhabitants are a constant population within, so they're not spawned via missions, they just exist there, and they will respawn over time. So this is a constantly inhabited space with a constant flow of challenges. It also inhabits creatures. Whilst we currently only have Copions, we are also thinking about expanding that potentially in the future.
The ends could...
No.
You know, you could be fighting bosses.
A boss fight?
Yes, we would definitely want bosses. They could be guarding the best loot. They could be mission-based bosses that spawn as well. So whether these boss fights come to the contested zones or not, in 4.0 or beyond, is still up for development, but I would personally really like to see that kind of thing added to contested zones to make them feel special.
So
this is cool, man. I like it.
we're adding contested zones for 4.0 really to capitalize on the atmosphere, the lawlessness, having players compete with one another, where there's really that tension of getting that loot out of there, but having to fight your way to do it. Fight your way in, fight your way out.
This is all PvP. So you gotta be careful and always be watching out for other players.
Sounds like a meat grinder.
It could be a meat grinder, especially being in Pyro with the PvP aspect. That's something that we are designing towards.
Oh, that felt so gold. Oh, man. This is, I think, going to be really popular with streamers. I think this is going to be really entertaining.
Players may choose to go in to hunt other players, which I think adds a really interesting element too, because not only are you wary of the traps, the puzzles, but you have to kind of be wary, watch your back, ambushes from players, that kind of stuff.
For the social core, we've left the green zones so that people can still have an enjoyable social experience. So you don't have to worry about getting ganked every 2 minutes by other players, at least for the social space.
Yeah, this was the issue with the playtest, if I remember. Like, there was no green zone in the hab, so even I experienced it on stream, I think. I was spawning in, walking out my door, and there was like a battle scene happen. It was like being in prison. Like, nah. Just keep I'm finding it. Just shut the door.
Unlike the global events that you know, such as Siege of Orison or Overdrive, these are spaces that always exist and that you can always go into.
But I have to say, the thing is that I'm wondering is like these doors open, but are you just going to have people sat there waiting for people to come in? Because you can literally spawning a gate, right? Or a big door that looks like a gate. So it'd be really interesting to see how maybe there's different entrances. So if you go in, you die, you can be like, okay, I'll try a different entrance or something. Like that is going to be like a really interesting aspect of Pyro.
Loot that you've already gotten is going to come back. The time door that we have is timed based off of the world. So you have a really huge incentive to stay there, to keep holding your ground, to really make this your space as long as you can before other people take it from you. And I think that's one of the things that's really exciting to me about bringing this to Pyro.
That scope looks sick.
Pyro has a number of asteroid clusters. They are the newer, larger asteroid clusters, so they should look and feel very different to the ones in Stanton.
What ship is this? This is a cutter. This UI looks so nice. I love. It was in the previous video, but I love the CRT effect on the monitors. It just looks right, especially for Drake.
Asteroid bases for us are really trying to take advantage of our universe better in terms of the locations that we have. Space is big, space is massive, but for our game, often we don't take as much usage of it as we should. We're taking procedural asteroids and we're carving these locations into it. And we're really providing a lot of variety in the gameplay in a form factor space.
That looks so good.
Essentially, we're utilizing the station interior set that we have created, and we're wrapping them around an asteroid, a big asteroid that allows us to be a lot more versatile with the kit that we have and create some interesting layouts for you.
Asteroid Base gives us the opportunity to create missions where you can be in space, and then you have to go on the interior to continue the mission.
So is this asteroid base, like, I assumed it was just like a, somewhere you land and go to sleep and respawn or whatever, but it looks like it's more of a bunker type of thing. Like it's a place where you go and do missions.
We made a little twist of the bunker, little space where we can have some missions, but in space.
Sometimes we could start with ship combat. You could have heavily defended areas on the outside. You could be engaging enemies outside on the landing pad.
Some of them even have copion infestations.
That should be fun.
That should be fun.
Asteroid bases are not just for combat. Because they're procedural asteroids, one of the things that's really cool about them is we can have multiple routes into these locations. So players can EVA and enter through a vent hatch. You could find your way in through a hangar. You could go straight through the front door. But there's a lot of room for exploration, finding loot that's been hidden there with loot crates, and find certain items that are important for you that you want to use to progress through Pyro, things that you haven't seen before in Stanton.
Can you tell us what that is?
No, I don't want to spoil it.
Sorry. It's just his face and then what's the top left, top right. You see that? Oh man, I just realized you can barely you can see. Sorry, chat. Ollie messed up. I'm sure.
Tell us what that is?
No, I don't want to spoil it.
As a baseline, we wanted to bring Pyro up to par with all the content that we already have in Stanton, but also make it unique. We believe that with the addition of contested zones and asteroid stations and all the other little pieces will give us unique aspects that really make it feel different from Stanton.
We're really looking forward to you finally getting your hands on the full experience of the stations. There's been a lot of effort put into them. There's a lot more diversity now inside and outside of the stations, both in terms of visuals and design.
Asteroid bases and contested zones, for us, are two really exciting new location types that we're bringing to the fans for Pyro. It's not a global event, so it's long-term. It's always going to be there. You can come back, get new cool stuff, advance your progression, and have fun with your friends and your party, your orgs.
This is my issue with Star Citizen. Like, what is progression in Star Citizen at the moment? At the moment, it's just getting the most money, I suppose. Like, we haven't got, like, loot progression. We haven't got base progression. We haven't got, like, a character progression, per se. The only progression is your wallet and assets, so it'd be interesting to see how that changes in the future. I'm sure they got plans.
And, you know, have a great time in Pyro.
Oh, that looks sick.
What else did we learn this week? Well, we learned that Rough and Ready have cornered the market on space stations in the Pyro system, and that green zones are in place to make the experience in station social areas a bit more manageable for players. That does not extend to the new contested zones, where chaos and carnage will reign supreme, and those who can temper it, solve their puzzles, collect their treasures, and escape will be rewarded for their efforts. And that asteroid bases should allow for a combined arms assault to explore what's contained within, and Christopher doesn't want me to say just yet. We want to make sure it'll work the way we want it to. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Don't forget to vote in the Ship Showdown when that happens. Don't forget to keep testing 3.24 and 4.0 on PTU when that happens. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development when that happens, and we'll see you all here next week for Fire.
So Fire next week, that'll be exciting. One thing I will say is I want to read the comments. It's let me just refresh it. I watched it pretty early on.
By this point, it's pretty safe to say that all of you...
It is pretty safe to say. Upcoming 4.0. I've heard this. I'm ready. It's fair. Seems like an ISC meme now. What was it?
Space.
Yeah. Can't wait for Play 4.0. Here's the thing. Maybe I am a little bit sour based on the session that I had today. The video that I was uploading that I mentioned earlier. Like, all I gotta say is I really hope Pyro server meshing, so I just want server performance to get better. The desync is like really hard to like play with, and when you're gonna be in an environment like this where it really matters if you die, in a situation like this, like that is gonna really hurt. And for CIG, it's gonna really turn players away. Like, if you're having a good time, and arguably the better time you have, the worse it's gonna feel if then you have a server issue and then you get, you know, shot in the back with desync and stuff. Like, you're gonna be even more mad, and you're gonna lose loot, and you're gonna be wanting to play something else. So I really hope, for Star Citizen's sake, oh man, that scope looks sick. Look at that. That's awesome. I really hope, for Star Citizen's sake, that they just get the server performance for Pyro nailed down. Because recently, maybe the next patch will be a little bit better. But currently, the way that when I'm playing, it feels it's challenging. I've been finding it hard. And I'm not talking about the Intel CPU stuff. I'm talking about like just weird server desync, which is very different and obvious when it happens. I will say, just to round this out, watching this gameplay and watching this ISC, it's actually got me really hyped to jump into Pyro and live it and make videos and live stream it, which is a powerful thing. I think they've done a great job at teasing me and wanting me to jump in. I don't know how people are going to feel. The reason why I wanted to look at the comments is I don't know how people are going to feel. Like the whole green zone. A lot of people... Oh, Zeus sighting at 11:53. Really? Where?
As a base...
Is that a Zeus? That's not a Zeus, is it? Is this Zeus?
We wanted to bring Pyro.
Unless there was a ship that came by. This is the Zeus apparently. That'd be kind of cool if it is. This kind of looks RSI actually, to be fair. Anyway, yeah, just to recap, it makes me excited to play it. I really hope the performance can hold up. It's kind of my feeling. I'm looking forward to hearing about Fire. I can't believe they didn't mention Noodles. They probably hope that we all forget about it. What? I'm not going to let them forget. Never forget Noodles. Anyway, this was a really good episode. I think they did a good job. Sorry, and that was the other thing I was going to say. Green zones. I don't know how people are going to feel about them inventing a green zone for a Pyro in a Pyro system. Like Pyro is meant to be completely lawless, and then there's a green zone. Doesn't really make sense in that aspect, but I like the fact there is a green zone. It's kind of not what it was meant to be, you know. Anyway, yeah, food for thought. Look forward to hearing your comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.